The problem of acting for too long is biggest in the teaching profession. We want teaching profession to attract personnel.
Hello viewers, I am Suleiman Bukhari. Welcome to a one-on-one interview that I will be having with Mandera South MP, Honorable Abdul Wahab Ibrahim Harro. I know you know him by his nickname, Corre. I will be interviewing him on various issues that is happening nationally and also some issues that about our local issues in his constituency. Allow me first to welcome our guest to our interview. Mheshimiwa, welcome to our interview.
Thank you, Suleiman. I'm happy to be on this show.
We are also very glad that you have honored our request for an interview, and I will be interviewing you on various issues, on security, on education, on power outages in the Mandera South constituency. But first, let us start with this bill that you have sponsored. I think it has gone the first reading, and now this the stage of public participation. It is the Teacher Service Commission Amendment Bill of 2012. Please take us through this bill.
Thank you very much. I think the bill is a very important bill because it aims at curing a very long-standing problem in the teaching fraternity. For a long time, teachers, not just in northern Kenya, although northern Kenya is affected most, teachers across the country, they have been having a challenge in terms of appointments. Particularly, you see a lot of teachers are appointed in acting position for far much too long. And then when those positions are substantively filled, then the way they are filled, it's not in a structured way. So that you can see somebody may be acting in a position for about 6 months. And when the TSC decides to fill that position at last, that person is overlooked and somebody else new is appointed in that position. So it has been a source of a lot of stress to a lot of teachers, because naturally if you have been acting in a position for some time and you are qualified for that position, the rule of natural justice requires that you should be given the first priority when it comes to filling of that position substantively. So this has not been happening, and the teachers have been suffering for quite a long time in terms of this unstructured unfairness in acting appointments. And then on the question of allowances, the bill is also addressing some very key allowances. Like, for example, if you put somebody in an acting position, there is something called special duty allowance, that person is supposed to be given over and above his normal salary because of that special position he's holding, special responsibility that is been added on top of his other responsibility. So for a long time, teachers have also not been receiving this special duty allowance. Teachers in some parts of the country, which we normally call hard to reach areas, or rather they have been designated as hardship areas, they are also supposed to be receiving hardship allowances. This hardship allowance has not been coming. If a teacher is transferred from one region to another, there is a transport allowance, movement allowance. There are so many allowances that the teachers are entitled to. Responsibility allowance for special schools, there are special schools allowance, and these allowances have not been coming. TSC have been having some of these allowances in their regulations. And you know, these regulations are just like internal policy of an organization, which sometimes cannot be enforced by law. And TSC has been using that lacuna in law to ignore these allowances, and teachers have been questioning, they have been suffering. I have my own constituents who have been approaching me every time I go to the constituency, teachers who are suffering, and they're asking me, Mheshimiwa, what are you doing about this? So in order to cure this problem for the whole country, I decided to come up with an amendment to the existing TSC Act of 2012. And my amendment is supposed to cure the question of acting so that there is fairness in the acting positions, and the question of allowances that teachers are supposed to be paid so that teachers are given the allowances like it is stipulated. Once we put it in the law, the TSC will be compelled to pay that allowance. But if it is just left in the regulation out there,
Yes.
or the organization is just left to decide when to pay and when not to pay. That is where now the suffering of the teachers has been coming in. And I'm saying, even if we do that amendment, it will not be done haphazardly. The SRC will come in and from time to time determine what is the rate for that allowance based on the payment that is done to the other public service staff in other sectors. So it is not something that is going to be done haphazardly. It is something that will be done based on the advice by SRC, but nevertheless it has to be in the law so that TSC is compelled to pay those allowances to the teachers. When it comes to the acting positions, there is an existing Public Service Commission Act which says if a public servant has been put in an acting position, it should not exceed beyond 6 months. And I can tell you there are teachers in this country who have been acting in a position for 6 years, for 5 years. So this amendment is coming to cure this, so that in line with the Public Service Commission Act of saying that public service should not be acting more than 6 months. I'm also saying the maximum period that the teacher is supposed to act in a particular position is between 30 days and 6 months. And when that happens, of course, Kenyans are now giving their opinions. Once that happens, I am of the opinion that that teacher who has been acting in that position should be automatically be confirmed in that position. If there is any reason why he should not be confirmed to that position, he or she is not supposed to be confirmed in that position, then he or she should not be allowed to act beyond the period of 6 months. And so the question of fairness comes in, that who has been acting should be given the priority to serve in that position. Yes. And then the other problem I've also seen is, a lot of teachers, especially from northern Kenya, have been put in acting positions for which they are not qualified. And then they have been made to act for perpetuity. And then when somebody is recruited in that position, the excuse they are always given is that because you are not qualified for that position, somebody else has to come in. And so what this bill is also saying is, if you are appointing somebody in that position, please make sure you appoint somebody who is qualified, so that when the position is filled substantively, that person can automatically become the substantive holder. That is why most of the teachers from some parts of this country are unable even to get promotions, because they are hoodwinked by this notion that they can act even when they are not qualified for those positions, and then
directly they get the position.
Exactly.
Mheshimiwa, you have said one of the areas that this bill will address is that teachers staying too long in acting capacity. Is this something unique to the teaching professional?
I think it is not unique to the teaching profession. I have seen people from other professions who have also been acting for, if I can give you an example of, I don't know whether he's now the PS, Amoth.
Dr. Patrick Amoth.
Dr. Patrick Amoth.
Yes.
He was acting under Kibaki, he acted under Uhuru, and he acted under Ruto's regime for some time. Until now, he has substantively been. So there are cases of other sectors where people have also been acting for far too long, which is illegal, which should not have happened in the first place. But I think the problem of acting for too long is biggest in the teaching profession, because given the sheer fact that teachers are a large force in this country, I think there is no civil service sector which has got more staff than the teaching teaching profession. I think there are more than 500,000 now, if I'm not wrong. I don't have the right figures, but they are approaching, or they are just slightly above 500,000 teachers across the country, and a lot of those teachers are in acting positions. So the problem is biggest in the teaching profession, but it's affecting also. I as a member of the education committee, I came face to face with this problem when interacting with the teachers in my own constituency. I don't know whether that number has moved further this year, but by last year I had 58 teachers in my constituency alone who are in acting positions and who have acted for several years. in those acting positions. So this close interaction with the teachers has actually brought me the reality of how big the problem is in the acting sector. While perhaps the other public service are covered by the Public Service Act, the public servants can be covered by the Public Service Act. I think TSC has not been covered by that act, because obviously if it has been covered by that act, it has flagrantly violated that act. And because it being a commission, perhaps they use that fact of being an independent commission to use a regulation instead of using the act. So we said, because it's not unique for TSC only to have this limit, there are other workers who have also benefited from this kind of legislation to limit the period in which they are acting. I thought this, because it's a unique problem to the teachers, we should also address it uniquely as a teacher problem.
You said teachers from your constituency approach you on these issues, these challenges that they are facing with staying too long in acting capacity. Is this something that is limited to your constituency, or it is a national issue?
It's a national problem. Every constituency in this country has a burden of teachers who have been acting for far too long. Some regions may have this problem much bigger than other regions for obvious reasons, but it is a problem that is affecting all the 290 constituencies in this country. I have been to Wajir, and teachers in Wajir have raised the same issues with me. I've been to Garissa, the teachers in Garissa have raised the same issues with me. I've been to Turkana, to Pokot, to Baringo. All these teachers in all these regions have raised the same issues on this problem of acting teachers. So it is a national problem, and we are addressing it as a national problem.
Another important issue that you have mentioned, which this bill will address, is that allowances that are given to the teachers performing special duties or extra duties. I would like to Schedule 4, which covers 9 allowances. Some of them are the obvious allowances that we know, and some of them are new to me. I don't know whether it is specific to the teaching profession, like readers facilitation allowances. I would like you to elaborate on that. Secondly, there is another transfer allowances. What are these?
Yeah, when the teachers are transferred from one region to the other, they move. So when they move, they are facilitated to move. Like, for example, if you are living in Nairobi and you are traveling to Mandera for a transfer, obviously if you expect this teacher to carry all his or her luggage on her own to transport them to Mandera, it will be an extra burden to the teacher, which is not necessary. So, and this is not a new allowance. It's an allowance which has always been in the regulations for teachers, but it has been ignored because of that bit of enforcement.
What about the readers facilitation allowances?
The readers facilitation or aid allowance. Basically, the commission shall determine and pay a readers facilitation or aid allowance to a teacher who is blind, deaf, or dumb, or with physical disabilities, are certified by the National Council of Persons with indicating the extent of the disability or the written law. So that is the allowance we are talking about, and which must be paid to those people with disabilities based on the determination and the certification that has been done by the National Disability Commission, which advises it on those issues. So it is for the blind, the deaf, and the dumb, or
teachers with special needs.
Yes.
Yeah. Fair enough. Still on these allowances, teachers' unions, both the NAT and KUPPET, they are also advocating for increased salary and also allowances. For example, NAT is pushing for 60% basic salary increment and better allowances, while KUPPET is demanding 50 to 100% increase on basic pay and improved allowances. Will this bill address these concerns that teachers' unions have?
As the bill as it is now is not addressing those issues. But it is now subject to the public participation. We are still waiting for the memoranda that will come from the public, and I expect perhaps one of the memoranda will be coming from NAT and KUPPET on what they think about all of these allowances, and they will bring in the elements they want to be added, and then the committee will now review all those memoranda and what the public has said. At that stage, the committee can decide to amend or to recommend a few changes in the bill before it is taken to the House to be subjected to the gallery for second reading. And at the second reading stage again, the 290, actually not 200, 349 members of parliament, including those nominated and all the members of parliament, will have the opportunity to put their voice on it. Will the speaker will allot time during the second reading for members to contribute to the bill. So those who have amendments again will be able to come up with other amendments. So it is really difficult to know what the final product will look like. But by and large, all indications show that it's a positive trajectory. Everybody wants teachers' welfare to be enhanced. Everybody wants teachers' welfare to be protected. And I think this would be something good for the country, because teachers are a very important component of our society. Education is an equalizer of society. And if education is supposed to be an equalizer of society, those facilitating that equalization process must be motivated to work hard and be able to. Many people are running away from the teaching professions because they think it pays poorly, there are no allowances, there are no nothing. We want teaching profession to attract personnel. Like those are the very highly paying jobs, because it's a very key and important sector in our country.
Since the bill will address some challenges that the teachers in the country are facing, did the teachers unions or the Teacher Service Commission reach out to you and give you their inputs in how to enrich or how to improve on this particular bill?
Not yet, not as unions. I know I have friends in there, a few individuals in their individual capacities have talked to me and encouraged me to do a BCD. But as a union, they have not approached me, and I think they will use the opportunity to give their public participation memoranda. And I think they will also be accorded an opportunity to appear before the committee if they want to appear and present their points. If any of them, as a union or as individuals, would be interested to talk to me individually, I'm open, and we can always have that conversation.
The bill is, if it sails through, it is a very important bill that will provide incentives to the teachers in the country. But the problem is it will bring extra burden to the national treasury. Did you consider that whether the bill will get the goodwill from the government in terms of budget allocation for the extra allowances that the bill is the bill will introduce?
Of course, the cost element is always going to be a question, but the education sector budget has been increasing every year, because we are giving birth to children, we are building more schools. The government will have to spend to facilitate those students, facilitate those schools, and therefore the cost element will always be there. The government will always devise methods of how to generate funds to be able to meet those costs. But these costs are very necessary. They are not costs you can do away with. And in any case, like I have told you, I may not say these are completely new allowances we are introducing. There are allowances which have always been there, but for some convenience reasons, the government has not been paying this allowance through.
Maybe money could be the issue
through the TSC. So whatever reason it is, I think it's a very necessary expenditure for the government to incur, and for education sector to be empowered, for education sector to go back to its days of glory, we have to motivate these teachers to be able to teach our children And this country, if we don't produce that manpower in this world today, where competition is rife, then Kenya will be left behind just because we are afraid of expending a little money here and there to be able to motivate our teachers to teach our children to the standard that is required internationally.
The bill now is at public participation stage, a very crucial stage. How will people contribute or forward their input in enriching this bill?
Yeah, I think the clerk has issued an advert out there. It is in circulation. I think people can write to the clerk directly through the email that is provided there. I think those who want to come and present physically, when the education committee will be discussing this, the dates will be put out there. They can be there physically to contribute their points. Those who want to share directly their views, they can also share directly with some of us, or even their MPs, because the MPs will also get the opportunity to make their contribution on the floor of the House. So there are a lot of ways by which the public can participate and give their inputs in this. And as I have told you, this is affecting every constituency in this country. And I'm sure the public, the information out there is that the public is very much aware of this bill, and they are really talking to their MPs, they are talking to their leaders, they are talking to whoever they can get hold of to give their views to them. But that advert out there by the clerk for inviting views from the public, we'll see how many Kenyans will respond and what type of views will come out of it.